It's not about control. It's about a relationship. Stand down. Stand down. Because everything's gonna get easier. Woo! Everything's gonna get brighter. Is that what you told them when the park was open? Latest dinosaur romping raging film in the Jurassic Park franchise. This is my review of Jurassic World. Now, yes, this movie's been a long time coming. It has been years since Jurassic Park 3, and a lot of the hardcore fans have been eagerly awaiting a fourth installment, so this has been hugely anticipated. So it has a lot to deliver on. The movie was in development hell for like 10 years, and they didn't find the right idea, and Jurassic Park 3 didn't do very well, so I don't think it took that much money. It's been a long wait, but yeah, finally we have the fourth Jurassic Park film. Now, I have to confess, myself and Jack McCullough were not particularly looking forward to this. The trailers made me think, oh god, it's completely negating the point of the first movie. The park was open, and I was like, well, surely the events of the first film would have confirmed to you that maybe that wasn't such a good idea. But no, yeah, the park is open, and I wasn't a big fan of The Lost World, nor Jurassic Park 3, so yeah, Jurassic World could have really gone either way. Basically, the story is that there's this like family. The parents are sending the kids off to Jurassic World to spend like a couple of weeks there. Their aunt actually is the one who's overseeing the whole park, so they've gone to spend time with her. But she's very busy and trying to deal with everything. Chris Pratt kind of comes along. He's like the alpha of the raptors. He's training them. He's communicating with them. And he's brought in to kind of assist Bryce Dallas Howard with the park, and we're trying to control the animals because they're the attraction is basically Jurassic World is basically what John Hammond envisioned. Hammond envisioned this park in which people could be inspired by dinosaurs and everything, and she's basically achieved what John Hammond set out to do in the first one. Obviously, in the first one, he was a bit confined with the technology at the time, and obviously this is a little bit different because the dinosaurs haven't actually been brought back through genetic coding. Well, they have, but they're hybrids. They've been kind of crossbred, if you like, so the dinosaurs have come back via that, which is an interesting take on the idea. And as you can imagine, it's one of those cases where one of the dinosaurs gets out, and then all hell breaks loose. There's some other subplots like the kind of the family subplot that the aunt is played by Bryce Dallas Howard. She's been kind of distant from her family for about 7 years, and she hasn't seen her nephews for a long time. So there's that kind of family element where she talks to her sister down the phone, and then her sister, who's the kid's mum. They're like, why did you leave them? You were supposed to be with them. She was like, I'm sorry, my job. I got all caught up with work and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, there's this guy who wants to use the raptors for military purposes for the war. Okay, don't quite get that, but okay. You have this other guy who is he's like this Indian guy. I think he's like the owner of the park. He's like, he's the one that works with Bryce Dallas Howard to kind of work out the costs and everything in the park. And he flies the helicopter, and he's basically kind of like, he is, I guess you could say he is the head of the park, but yeah, yeah, he's trying to keep control of everything. And you know, you've got the other guy who's trying to come in and take over it. The guy from InGen. So yeah, this movie's big. Yeah, so Jurassic World. Overall, I have to say, I was really surprised. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. I thought it was going to be crap, or at best okay. I mean, in my opinion, I think Jurassic World is a bit of a mixed bag. It has some great stuff of what made the first movie really good, and it had some stuff of what made the previous two films bad. So it's a mix. It's a bit of a mishmash, really. First of all, the plot is completely just. I mean, in a way, the plot is kind of hit and miss, because I feel, on the one hand, that the plot is kind of disrespecting the first film because the park is open, and as I said earlier, surely the events of the first film, and even the second and third film, would confirm to you that maybe having dinosaurs in a park is not a good idea, especially as they you know, crossbred as well. But yeah, so on that kind of side, it's kind of crap, because you're like, well, this doesn't make sense. This is not the point of Jurassic Park. The plot shouldn't be like this. But on the other hand, I don't mind it, because, you know, it's kind of, in terms of like the future, it's kind of showing you what it would. It's kind of showing you John Hammond's vision properly imagined. So, for that kind of reason, I kind of like it. And yeah, but the plot overall is a bit weak in my opinion. It kind of misses the point of Jurassic Park. I mean, I can get over it because the movie's fun, but you know, yeah. The characters. Now, this is a kind of again another hit and miss thing with me. I think some of the characters work really well, and others don't. Chris Pratt, I mean, I don't hate the guy. He's okay. I mean, you know, he's quite good in Guardians of the Galaxy and the Lego Movie, but I feel like he was a bit miscast here. I don't really get the point of his character, like why he's there. I know he's got the controlling the raptors. He's good with controlling the raptors, and that was a really interesting character trait. I liked seeing that, like somebody who could actually sort of communicate with the dinosaurs, which we hadn't actually seen like in the previous films, unless you count Sam Neill. But yeah, but Chris Pratt is the one who really does communicate with them in the proper ways, like stand down. You know, it's not about control; it's about a relationship. You have to kind of, you know, you have to understand the dinosaur. So it's interesting how he communicates with them. That side is quite interesting. But I don't. Chris Pratt just kind of, he didn't really do much. For one, he wasn't in the movie as much as I thought he was going to be. He was just kind of there, like along for the ride. He was just. They needed a male lead, and yeah. I mean, he's just kind of playing himself. But no, he's watchable. He doesn't give like an awful performance, but it's just kind of unmemorable. It's just forgettable. So I just kind of disregard him really. But no, he's okay. But Bryce Dallas Howard, I really like Bryce Dallas Howard as her character. It's interesting how she's very obsessed with the job, and you can tell that she is obsessed with the job. She is obsessed with inspiring people into Jurassic World, but and because of that, she hasn't made time for her family, which is an interesting dynamic. When she reunites with her nephews at the beginning, because her sister has arranged her kids to come down to Jurassic World and spend time with their aunt, and obviously she's too busy, so she's kind of neglecting them. But then towards the end, you see her loyalty kind of strays back towards her family. She kind of goes. You kind of see that she gives a fuck it attitude. She's like, screw it, the park's gone. It's too late. Yeah, it's too late. You know, nothing else will happen. You know, I've got to be with my family. And I like that, how she then decided to protect her nephews. So yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard's a good character. The bad characters. Now here's the issue. The nephews, for me, were completely unnecessary. I didn't understand why they were in the movie. I mean, I don't understand this sort of running tradition for the Jurassic Park films. Why does every Jurassic Park film need to have a kid in it? It just, why? You know, it doesn't make sense. The first movie, you had John Hammond's grandchildren, fair enough. They were okay, even if Lex did scream a bit much. The second film, you had Jeff Goldblum's daughter, not his actual daughter, the character's daughter, Ian Malcolm's daughter. She was pointless. And in the third movie, you had Eric. I mean, the whole plot revolved around a kid because they were going to find the Kirby's son, Eric. And in this film, you have the two nephews, which are, I mean, they're brothers, and they don't necessarily get on very well. I mean, you've got the little annoying kid he's actually the kid from Iron Man 3, funnily enough. He's this really kind of annoying kid. He gets excited by everything. He's a bit like, kind of reminiscent of the Tim in the first film. He's obsessed with dinosaurs and he's so excited about it all, whereas his brother couldn't give a crap. His brother's a bit of a player though. At the beginning, his brother has a girlfriend, but then later on in the film, he's kind of eyeing up all of these girls. I find it really strange. For me, he's a bit of a player. He's a bit of a perv, so to speak. Yeah, I would hate to be related to that kid. Yeah, no, bastard. But and then you get some other characters, like the Indian guy. He's quite interesting. I thought he was on drugs at one point when he was flying the plane. He seemed to be enjoying himself. Maybe a bit too much. Then you got that other guy, the big guy, I can't remember his name, but the guy who's running sort of InGen, and then they come in and take over. He's quite a good villain, and when his hand gets bitten, I was like, oh, that was quite bloody. This movie's bloody. I mean, the scenes with like the action stuff is done really well. I mean, obviously it's CGI, so I mean, I did kind of wish that they used a little bit of animatronics in there, even just a little bit, to kind of hark back to the first film. That would have been nice, but the suspense is still there. There are some really suspenseful scenes, even if some of them are quite stupid, like how the pterodactyl comes up to the helicopter and then just stabs through the guy. It's stupid. Like, what? Like, it doesn't make sense, but I mean, you kind of have to roll with it. There's tons of action. There really is. I mean, dinosaur action. I mean, Jurassic Park 3 kind of has a bit more, I think, because that runs like for 90 minutes. This has a bit of baggage to it, so there's a bit. You don't feel it's as overwhelming as Jurassic Park 3, but even so, the CGI. I don't think it's brilliant. It'll do. I mean, it's better than it looked in the trailers, but it'll do. It's not bad CGI, but it doesn't. It kind of loses. It kind of took me out a little bit because I kind of wanted more animatronics. Like, what was interesting about the first three films is that all three of the films actually incorporated uses of CGI and animatronics. That could have been the case for Jurassic World, but obviously they decided to just go with the CGI. But I think it does work in its favour, and some of the scale of some of the dinosaurs is enormous. I mean, that T-Rex, and I can't remember its name, but the one that lives underwater, that one was great. Like, there are some really interesting action sequences. There's a really intense scene when a lot of people die, and in the main sort of area of the park, the British woman who's meant to be looking after the nephews, while Bryce Dallas Howard was working, she dies, and it's quite a tragic death. I mean, her death is quite intense, where they pick her up and throw her in the water. There's quite a funny moment as well when the pterodactyl tries to lift up the Triceratops. You kind of go, what the fuck? I mean, there are some what the fuck moments in this film, but kind of in a good way. It kind of made me laugh. What I think works in this film also is the fact that they try and play it more towards what made the first film really good, was the fact that they spent time trying to develop the characters and giving you that sort of build-up and of the suspense. The first movie did that really well because you were intrigued about the dinosaurs and everything, and then the second half, boom, it just hit you, the suspense. The second film plodded on, it didn't really know where it was going to go. There were a couple of suspenseful moments, but overall it just felt really lackluster and lame to me. The third movie was just constant thrills and spills, and there was no breathing space. No room for any drama or character development. They just rushed through it, and it was like action, 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 action. One action set piece to the next. This movie, it's a bit of the previous two, and it's a bit of the first one. Sometimes it does feel like they're like rushing the action. They're just like throwing loads of action at you, and then on the other hand, they do build up to some of the scenes really well. It's like I said, it's a mixed bag, so it's kind of hard to really assess this film. Oh, excuse me, something in my eye. But when the suspense moments hit, I thought they hit, and I've got to say, that music, the score is actually composed by Michael Giacchino, who is a very good composer. He has composed scores like The Incredibles, Tomorrowland, Super 8, and obviously Jurassic World. Many sort of scores, and the new Star Trek films. He's scored those as well. Obviously, they've kept John Williams' theme, but the actual score itself is brilliant. It's intense, it's pulse-pounding, it's emotional. It has some really, it's dramatic, it's suspenseful, it's intense, it's emotional. It's got everything, and I've got to say, during those earlier scenes, despite the fact that I think the movie's a bit too slow at the beginning, hearing that theme, it's just brilliant. I was like, yes, this is great. This is really good. I mean, hearing that music in the cinema was great. The only thing I thought they missed, when the credits came on, they didn't have the normal credits theme. Fucking idiots, but no, I'm joking. But it would have been nice. I mean, they had the they had that in the credits, but they should have had the dun 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 dun. It had directed by Colin Trevorrow. On that subject, I think Colin Trevorrow's direction. I think this is. I've never really heard of the guy before. As far as I know, this is like his first big sort of film, his first feature film. Overall, it's not bad. I mean, his direction's okay. I mean, there are a couple of all over the place moments, a couple of sloppy moments, and the script isn't completely all there. I mean, a lot of things are kind of mixed in this film. There are things which are good, and there are things which are bad. The script for me is a little bit bad. I mean, mostly it's okay, but I mean. It's cheesy. I find that the script can be cheesy, which is a shame. I mean, especially like with Chris Pratt's lines. These animals are thinking, "I gotta eat. I gotta." Like, what are you talking about, dinosaurs? Something like that. And he's like, and then there's kind of a thing in there about Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard's characters having like a romance or a ding dong at some point, which just kind of goes nowhere. And then at one point they kiss. You're like, oh. Okay. You don't give a shit about their romance. You just don't. I don't believe it anyway. The dinosaurs look good. I said the CGI's pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. I mean, it'll do. It's nice because the film can introduce Jurassic Park to a new audience and if they haven't seen the previous films, they'll go back and watch the first three. Or at least the first one. I mean, because this film kind of makes The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 non-canon. Yeah, there were some nice references to the first one. Like there was that DNA strand. I was like, yes, Mr. DNA, awesome. There was a statue of John Hammond as well, which is nice. And I think at one point there was the banner. There was that when the two nephews went into the where the cars were. One of the guys picked up something, and I thought it was the banner that said "When the dinosaurs ruled." I thought it was that, which, I mean, if it isn't, then do correct me, but I believe it was that, and I like to think it was that. So yeah, and I do feel the movie is a bit too long. I think maybe 2 hours 10 minutes is a bit long. I mean, it's about the same length as The Lost World. I mean, it moves quick. It moves quicker than The Lost World. I mean, the first kind of 30 minutes. It's a bit slow and it takes its time, but I do really enjoy the film for what it is, and the pace, once you get past the first sort of 30 minutes, because the getting to the park, they kind of drag that out a little bit, getting to the park, where we're kind of following the kids, just long, and you kind of like, come on, just get on with it, I think maybe they could have cut 20 minutes out, maybe 10 minutes, perhaps. But no, overall, Jurassic World was a pretty decent effort. It really surprised me, and I was really pleased to watch it. It was good. It was an improvement over the previous two sequels, so it is the sequel that we were waiting for. I mean, it took them over 20 years, but got there in the end. It's not perfect. It has a few problems. It's a mixed bag. It offers great spectacle, that it offers great spectacle. The music is amazing. The direction is pretty good. The subplot, it gets a bit bloated in terms of the plot. Like the subplots kind of overtake the film. I'm not really a big fan of the plot. I can happily watch it as a fun romp, and it's great. And you know, there's great action. It's great. I mean, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable, and I think the die-hard fans are going to be happy with it. So yeah, I mean, I'd rather them not make a fifth one. I think this is a pretty good ending point for it. I mean, the series been going for a long time now. I mean, 1993 to 2015, that's 22 years. That's quite a long time for one franchise to keep going. I mean, there's been obviously a big gap between Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World, but no, this is sort of the sequel to Jurassic Park, the proper sequel. The other two, I mean, if I had to marathon the movies, I'd happily watch them, but yeah, no, Jurassic World, good effort. So overall, I'm going to rate this movie a good 7 out of 10. It's surprising how it's not a masterpiece, it's not perfect, it has problems. I've got the first three. I mean, it's a bit of a slim case. I've got it here. The Jurassic World trilogy. It's a very slim case, but it's got the first three films, 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, but no. Yeah, that's it. That's my review of all of the Jurassic Park films for now, unless they make a fifth one. But yeah, no, this is my review of Jurassic World. What do you think of Jurassic World? Please comment down below. Let me know what you think, and stay tuned next time when I do my ranking of the 4 official Jurassic Park films. So, going to be ranking Jurassic Park, The Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, and of course Jurassic World. So. Stay tuned for that. Also, I have brought Lego Jurassic World, and it is quite fun. I've played some of it, and it's really cool. I'm on the Lost World at the moment, almost finished it, so I'm halfway through the levels. But yeah, Jurassic World. Yeah, that's it. Thank you all for watching. Otherwise, I'm Mr. Talis11. See ya.